Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Eureka Solutions webinar focused on upgrading your legacy system to Oracle NetSuite. Today's webinar will be focusing on outdated on-premise systems that rely on client-server models rather than modern cloud-based software as a service systems, and the signs that you need to look out for to consider if it's time to replace your legacy finance and ERP system, and the benefits that a move to NetSuite can bring to you and your business. I'm the host for today's session. My name's Johnstone. I'm a solution consultant here at Eureka Solutions, and you'll be joined by myself for the next hour or so to go through all the reasons that you may wish to consider replacing your legacy finance and ERP system. Before we get started, we've got an agenda for today. We'll start off by speaking about ourselves, Eureka Solutions, so who we are and what we do. We'll then go into a bit of detail in terms of Oracle NetSuite, what Oracle NetSuite is, and then we'll cover the telltale signs that it's time to consider replacing your legacy system and how NetSuite can help with the challenges that you may be facing. We'll then have an overview demonstration of NetSuite, and then we'll finish with a Q&A. Now, the Q&A chat box is open throughout the session, so please feel free to drop some questions in the Q&A and we can answer them in the designated time at the end of the webinar. So just to get started, about us here at Eureka Solutions. Eureka Solutions was founded in 1996 on two core principles that we still hold true to this day, those being technical expertise and customer service. Now, to make sure that we're keeping up to speed with our customer service, we post live reviews on our website of our feedback from our customers. Now, every time one of our customers closes a support case, they receive a survey from Customer Sure. You'll see at the bottom of the slide, we are currently averaging 9.7 out of 10 in terms of customer satisfaction, and that's across over 7,000 reviews. Now, those are posted live on our website, so please feel free to check that out for yourself for what our customers are saying about our support. Now, as a business, Eureka Solutions focuses on three main things, those being NetSuite, which we're talking about today, as well as Sage 200 and our own integration application, bSyncly. We've grown from a staff of 3 in 2004 to over 70 today, with a focus still on the technical expertise, with the majority of the 70 plus staff being in technical roles. Now, why should you be listening to us about NetSuite? And that is because of our NetSuite credentials. So we started as a NetSuite solution provider in 2012, from which we started as we wish to continue by receiving the EMEA New Partner of the Year award. Since then, we have implemented over 100 plus NetSuite end-to-end implementation projects, as well as hundreds of other smaller projects as well. In 2021, we received the NetSuite 5-Star Partner Award as recognition of the value and customers that we are bringing to NetSuite. NetSuite have since moved away from the Star Awards, but we did get recognition as having expertise in ERP, which is NetSuite's new recognition scheme for partners. You'll see there as well, we also got recognised as NetSuite's UK Best Performing Partner in 2021 as well. So what is Oracle NetSuite? NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud ERP system. It was founded in 1998 and acquired by Oracle in 2016. Now, NetSuite, unlike other systems, is a true 100% cloud business management system. Now, what that means is there's no sort of client-server hosting, there's no IT maintenance included. That is all part of the software as a service contract that you have with Oracle NetSuite. NetSuite is one database for multi-company financials, ERP and CRM, and operates as that one source of the truth and one unified system. You can access NetSuite on any device, anytime, anywhere. So unlike other on-premise systems where you may need a VPN or remote desktop to access your system, you can access NetSuite on the go at your convenience to make sure that you've always got visibility of the key figures to make informed decisions about your business. As expected with Oracle backend, it's got high-class security and privacy. And once again, that is all managed as part of your contract with NetSuite. There's no sort of external considerations for IT maintenance or security there. With NetSuite, there's an availability commitment of 99.7%. In reality, NetSuite averages much higher than that for the previous year to date, currently sitting at 99.98% uptime. And that can be viewed online at status.netsuite.com. So if there's any issues, they're all tracked. Any incident history can all be accessed on that website, as well as seeing the 99.98% average uptime. Now, with NetSuite, there's no such thing as version locks, which many of you using on-premise legacy system may have experienced. With NetSuite, it automatically upgrades every 6 months, meaning that all customers are on the same version of the system. It means that you also benefit from any additional features that have been added. So things with compliance, any new features, you will benefit from product enhancements to NetSuite. Now, as a result of all of these different areas here, you'll see that NetSuite is now being used by over 34,000 customers worldwide, and really is the world's #1 cloud ERP system. So in terms of our customers, we have customers in a variety of different industries, from life sciences to wholesale distribution, to entertainment, to sports, to charities, to technology and software companies. We have a wide range of customers across various different industries. Now, if you want to know more about how we have helped customers in your specific industry, we have a wide range of success stories and case studies on our website, as well as being more than happy to discuss any specific industries that you would wish to discuss with us. Be happy to get into more detail on that. Now, in terms of what our customers say about us, just got a couple of examples here of customers that have moved from legacy on-prem systems to NetSuite and the benefits that they have found as part of that move. To start off with, we've got StoreMagic, who are a fast-growing technology company with entities in the UK, US, and Canada. We moved them off of their legacy Sage system due to their increasing business complexities and moved on to NetSuite. And in terms of the benefits, they have been able to get access to the information that they need as quickly as is possible without having to rely on a lot of time after month end to compile information and KPIs. Another one here, we've got Connect Managed Services. Now, they moved from their outdated legacy Sun account system to NetSuite, which fueled 146% growth in the 2 years following the NetSuite implementation. Now, Connect see NetSuite as the one-stop shop for all of their financial information, meaning that they do not have to rely on any separate systems, spreadsheets, stuff like that. They get everything that they need from NetSuite. So on to the focus of today's webinar, which is looking at the signs that it is time to replace your legacy system. Now, to begin with, we have got an overall lack of visibility and limited access to your information, which some of you may be experiencing just now. In terms of the challenges included in lack of visibility, you may actually find a challenge, first of all, just given the nature of the on-prem system, with difficulties accessing that may require a VPN or virtual desktop to be able to access. Now, this will prevent you from being able to access information conveniently and as you need. Now, alongside this, may also struggle with accessing real-time information. Now, that may simply not be possible with your current system, or it may take a lot of time to be able to collate data, meaning that that is no longer real time. Now, all of these combined mean an inability to make informed business decisions. How can NetSuite help this? Well, NetSuite can be accessed, as mentioned, on any device, anytime, anywhere, meaning that you have got full access to real-time dashboards and KPIs, as well as standard out-of-the-box reports with full drill down to transactional level of detail, meaning that you've got that full visibility and access to information that you may be lacking in your current legacy system. Now, another sign that you may wish to consider replacing your legacy system is costly version upgrades. Now, with legacy systems, you may be experiencing version locks where you are currently stuck on an old version of the system, or maybe the current version that you're on is ending support. Now, what this may mean is costly upgrades or even re-implementations to be able to keep up with compliance and compatibility with operating systems. Now, how can NetSuite help with this? Now, NetSuite operates under a software as a service model, meaning that it upgrades every 6 months automatically, meaning that there's no such thing as version lock with NetSuite. Beyond this, NetSuite also grows alongside your business, making sure that as you grow, you can grow your usage of the system as well. Another sign that it may be time to replace your legacy system is manual processes and a reliance on these. Now, this may include too much time spent in Excel. It may include processes which are open to human error, or it may be that you're having to find inefficient workarounds to be able to do what you need to do in your current system. Now, NetSuite can help with this in a number of ways through the automation of key processes that it brings, something that we can touch on as part of the overview demonstration later in today's webinar, as well as bringing a raft of different analytics tools such as Suite Analytics, once again, reports that come out of the box, and built-in approval workflows, so you will no longer have to look for inefficient workarounds, which may even rely on you exiting your legacy system and, God forbid, carrying out email approvals. Another sign that it's time to replace your legacy system is disparate systems and bolt-ons. Now, with disparate systems, you may be experiencing no single source of truth and re-entry across different systems. Now, as well as this taking up a lot of time, it also makes the processes open to re-entry errors. And as well as that, you may find that your system is being expanded beyond its intended use, which of course may cover functionality that is not included as part of your legacy system. Once again, how can NetSuite help with this? NetSuite is one unified database. It's got that one single data source for information across financials, CRM, HR, project management, supply chain management, whatever your business needs is all in one place, meaning that there's a suite of functionality across your entire business. As mentioned as well, NetSuite grows alongside your business. So as your business increases in complexities, you may have to start to add on different suites, different areas, different modules, which of course NetSuite can support your growth in being able to do that. Speaking of growth, another sign that it is time to replace your legacy system is rapid growth. Now, you may experience with your current system that they just do not have the scalability to keep up with your growth. Now, beyond that as well, increasing business complexities may mean that you no longer have the visibility to make informed decisions that you need as that complexity is sought across the entire business. With that, there may be an increase in the business intelligence requirements to make sure that you're making informed decisions about the growth of your business. Now, NetSuite helps with this by being flexible, scalable, and customizable, as well as through the very nature of the implementation of NetSuite, looking at a phased implementation and a stairway approach so that you can increase on functionality and access more of the system and unlock the suite as you continue to grow. Beyond this as well, in terms of addressing the business intelligence requirements, NetSuite, of course, has those real-time analytics, dashboards, and KPIs to make sure that you're keeping on top of that real-time data that you need to make those decisions. Similar to rapid growth, we have got global expansion. Now, the challenges that you may be facing with your current system are that it may actually just be designed for the UK, which means that meeting local regulations and compliances in the countries that you're expanding into globally may be difficult or simply not possible in your current system. You may also have no multi-language, multi-currency, multi-tax within your current situation, system, and you may also struggle with group consolidation as you continue to grow and the number of entities across your business increases. Once again, how can NetSuite help? NetSuite can help with One World, which includes localizations for country-specific requirements, and once again, one unified database for all entities that are within your group structure, and of course, the intercompany functionality to make the consolidation and intercompany eliminations more automated. Now, in terms of the results of moving to NetSuite, this was a study carried out by SL Associates in terms of the real life results and benefits that customers moving to NetSuite realised when moving off their old systems. You'll see here that there's key wins across business visibility and financial management, looking at an increase of between 50 and 80% in business visibility. A couple more key things there, an improvement in collection time accounts receivable between 30 and 50%, and an overall decrease of 30 to 55% in terms of closing the financial books, something that we have found as a key win for a lot of our customers that have moved from legacy systems to NetSuite. Okay, so enough talking about NetSuite. It's time to show you a demonstration of the system. And now for today, we have got a demo account that's set up, which is focused on the core finances within NetSuite. Of course, this is just a taster of what NetSuite has got to offer. So if you are interested in seeing perhaps a more personalized demonstration, then please feel free to reach out and we'd be more than happy to arrange that for you. So if I just go here to my Google Chrome browser and open up NetSuite here, as mentioned, NetSuite is a true 100% cloud-based system that can be accessed on any supported browser anywhere at any time, meaning that you do not have to have any applications installed onto your laptop or desktop computer. Now we've got a demo account set up for today, which we will log into just now. Now, this is an example of what's called a financial first version of NetSuite. Now, there's various different additions depending on the industry that your business operates across. That may be wholesale distribution, manufacturing, software. There's various different additions of NetSuite which are focused on bringing leading practices based on your industry in which you operate. Now you see here, we are just logging into the demo account that we've got set up for today. Now, as soon as we log into the system, you'll see straight away that we've got access to real-time KPIs and dashboards, meaning that as soon as we get into NetSuite, we have got the visibility that we need to make informed decisions. Now, before we go through the dashboard itself, if we take a step back, you'll see that we are currently logged in as the CFO in this demo account. Now, with NetSuite, there's various different rules that come out of the box based on what the 34,000 customers that are currently using NetSuite require in terms of rules. Now, these rules can be used as a basis to tweak the permissions and restrictions to make sure that the people in your business have the correct level of access to the system that they need on a daily basis. Now you see here up the top, we've got a global search bar, meaning that we can search for any records or transactions in the system. So say, for example, we're looking for a specific vendor, we can use the prefix here and quickly and easily find any suppliers here that have the word computer in their name. Now, the same applies for any transactions in the system. So if you're looking for a specific purchase order or invoice, if you know the reference for that, you can get there quickly and easily by using the global search. Coming down here, you'll see that there's also a traditional menu structure. Now, as we move through the demonstration, you'll see how this changes based on the user's role and the permissions that they have got in terms of their access to the system. You see here it is very much traditional menu structure, being able to drop down and get where you need to go in NetSuite. Now, coming on to the home dashboard itself, you'll see that it's made up of different sections. Now, these sections can be added and removed by the end user to make sure that they've got visibility of the information that they need in the format that they want. There's a personalized tab here, which allows us to add different KPI meters, report snapshots, different searches, list views, and so on, meaning that we can personalize our home dashboard and have that information that we need. You'll see here as well the different sections of the home dashboard can be moved to the user's preference. So depending on where they want key sections of their home dashboard, they are totally in control of where they are located on their screen. You'll see here on the left-hand side, we have got our reminders. Now, our reminders give us visibility of actionable insights as soon as we log into the system. So you'll see things like approval processes, as well as visibility of high-level invoices for our CFO here, as well as that high-level overview of new customers and new vendors that have been added to the system. If we come here to our reminders setup, you'll see here that it's extremely easy to add new reminders to our home dashboard simply by using drag and drop functionality there as well. Beyond that, various different options in terms of how we wish to highlight our reminders to make sure that we are bringing attention to anything that we need to action in the system. Moving on for the reminders, we've also got our KPIs. Now, our KPIs are pulling information from different reports across the system here. You see if I hover over these, they are drillable, which I'll come back to in a moment, meaning that we can interrogate these figures and get into the granular level of detail just by clicking through from our home dashboard. As with the reminders, custom KPIs can be set up, meaning that if there's anything specific or unique to your business, then custom KPIs can be created to allow you to track that. Beyond that, there's various different standard KPIs and reminders that come out of the box based on the 34,000 plus customers that are using the system. Now we'll come back to the drill down functionality there of the KPIs in a moment. But before we do, just scrolling through the rest of the home dashboard, you'll see that we've got the likes of KPI meters to make sure we've got quick and easy access to the visibility of information there. We've got our tiles and navigation shortcut groups giving us access to different areas of the system. But whether you use the global search, the traditional menu structure, reminders, KPIs, navigation shortcut groups, or tiles, you'll get to where you need to be in the system. And once again, it very much is user preference. If you do not wish to use a certain section, then you can quickly and easily remove that from your home dashboard as well. You see here that we have got our subsidiary navigator. So once again, NetSuite is a system for all of the companies within your group structure, whether that be other companies within the UK or perhaps globally as well. You'll see here that we have got a parent company in this demo account, as well as a UK and Netherlands trading company. Now, just now we're looking at the full automatic consolidated figures across the group. But say, for example, we just wanted to look at our UK trading company. Using our subsidiary navigator, we can filter down the entire dashboard to just view the figures. You'll see everything updating there. The same applies for our Netherlands subsidiary as well. If we click on that, we can filter down and just look at the figures for our Netherlands sub, which of course are in our entity's base currency of euros here for the Netherlands. Now, if multi-company functionality, multi-country functionality is something that you want to review further, then please do feel free to reach out and we can have a tailored demonstration to show you more on how that works. Scrolling down here, you'll see a couple of different examples of trend graphs, looking at our expenses across the period, as well as our COGS across the period. And beyond that as well, we also have our financial scorecard, given that granular level of detail across our key financial figures for our CFO. Once again, these figures are drillable, as well as being able to create a trend graph on the fly, which can also be exported directly out of the system for the likes of creating board packs at month end. Now, the same applies for any of the trend graphs you see on the screen here. We can take these directly out of the system as we have full access to our data. Now, coming back up to the KPIs, as mentioned, the KPIs are drillable, meaning that we can click through and interrogate these figures. As NetSuite is based on a browser, native browser functionality applies, meaning that we can continue working away on our home dashboard whilst opening up a report on a separate tab here. You'll see in this case, we have opened up our P&L. Now, with our P&L, you'll see loads of different options in terms of the period that we're looking at, in terms of the columns, so how we're slicing and dicing our reports. You may also notice that the P&L, so the chart of accounts here, is fairly streamlined. Now with NetSuite, the leading practice is to keep the chart of accounts as streamlined as possible, where possible, and then use classifications which are tagged on transactions to be able to slice and dice that data and get the necessary level of analysis that you require for your business. You'll see here that we've got various different options on how we wish to view the period here, as well as being able to select a custom period beyond that. Now, if we just roll this back to the previous financial year, just to make sure we've got a wide range of data in this demo account, you'll see that we are currently looking at the subsidiary context for the full consolidated group, but of course we can view the individual entities as well. Say, for example, we wanted to just look at the UK trading company or the Netherlands trading company. As they're all part of that one unified database, then we can filter and see the figures only relevant to them. Now, beyond that, you may wish to compare subsidiaries and the performance of them. You can do that with a subsidiary column here, making sure that we've got that side-by-side comparison of the Netherlands and the UK trading company here. And once again, that will be in the consolidated base currency of the parent company. Now, beyond that as well, there's various different options when it comes to slicing and dicing reports. There's an unlimited number of custom segments which can be applied. Now, that may be things like departments for cost center analysis, that may be revenue streams or profit centers, maybe projects, maybe locations, or it may be something specific or unique to your business that you look to track. With NetSuite, there's no limit on the number of custom segments here, meaning as your business grows, you can add in additional segments to give you the level of analysis that you require. Just a couple of examples in this demo account, you'll see that we have got our departments. So looking at our cost center analysis, being able to break this down across the different departments that are within the business, and getting a full P&L across these different cost centers. Another example we've got set up is our classes, which looks across different revenue streams. So looking at the likes of our e-commerce, maybe it's a business that sells both hardware and software, wants to break down the e-commerce sales by those different classifications. We also have events, partnerships, services and support. Whatever the revenue streams, departments, or anything that you need to track and analyze can be done within NetSuite using classifications and custom segments. Now, you'll see down the bottom here that we've got various different tools in terms of collapsing or expanding the reports, as well as the ability to export out to Excel, PDF, CSV, and Word document, as well as being able to print, email, and schedule reports. Now, with schedule reports, that means that we can send certain reports to customers, suppliers, other employees, to make sure that we are not having to manually compile information and send that off to the relevant people. That can all be automated within NetSuite. Now, in terms of these figures, as mentioned, there is full drill down functionality within NetSuite. So if we open up our P&L, which we'd be able to access just from one click from our home dashboard, you'll see that we can interrogate these figures and get all the way down to the transactional level of detail in terms of the journals and invoices that are actually making up our sales figure that we have drilled into there as well. Now, once again, given that NetSuite is browser-based, that means that we can continue reviewing this report, interrogating these key figures and the transactions that have impacted the consolidated figure there, whilst opening up our invoices in separate tabs, making sure that we can get down to that transactional level of detail and getting down to that line level of detail in a couple of clicks from our home dashboard. Now, in terms of the reports that come out of the box, you'll see here that there's various different financial reports, so P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statement, TB, budget versus actual reports, across to our sales reports, so breakdown of sales by customer, by item, by sales rep, and so on. as well as various different reports across purchases, as well as inventory if you are a product-based business, depending on the edition of NetSuite that you are using. There's various different reports, KPIs, searches that come as standard and can be customized as well by the end user to make sure that they can add the columns and information that they require to be able to have visibility of the key figures and KPIs that they need to make informed decisions. Now, in terms of giving you a taste of how different users interact with NetSuite, we're going to work through a procure-to-pay process, just showing how that is automated across the system. Now, we're currently logged in as the CFO, which is an example of a general access user in NetSuite, but we also have lighter license employee center users who are designed to be able to enter and approve purchase orders and expenses. You see here, as we log into the Employee Centre, very much filtered down in terms of their level of access that they have got to NetSuite. But you'll see here that they do have the option to enter POs, expenses, as well as being able to approve these transactions as well. Now, if we click here on Enter Purchase Request, we can enter all of the information that we need for this purchase request. Now, that will be the likes of selecting the supplier that this is for, selecting the location that we'll be looking to deliver our purchase request to, as well as being able to select the line level of detail as well. You'll see here that when we are entering in this purchase request, all of the lines are automatically defaulted to the administration department, as Abby Kwan, the user that we're currently logged in as part of the administration team, meaning that there's less manual input on the front end to be able to still get that level of analysis on the back end in terms of the reporting that we've just discussed there just now. In terms of currencies, NetSuite, there's no limit in the number of currencies that are required. So if you need to trade with suppliers or customers in GBP, Euro, USD, any number of currencies, then that can be set up within NetSuite. Now, in terms of the items that we're adding here, we'll just add some office supplies, which is just set up as a standard item within NetSuite, a non-inventory item that we would be requesting for purchase. Now, if we put in a description here, say, for example, we want to just override this free text and say that we're ordering 2 laptops for the admin team, as well as entering the quantity and the rate that these laptops are going to cost. Then just be a case of adding in any additional line items that are required. In terms of the billing and shipping information, you'll see that that's picked up from the data that we've got on the supplier, as well as the data that we have got for our location being the London location. As mentioned, it would then just be a case of adding in any additional line items required on this purchase request and clicking Save. At this point, NetSuite would look into the workflows to see what the purchase order needs in way of approval, and you'll see here that it's gone to a status of pending supervisor approval. If we go into our related records and approvals, we can see here that we have got Stella James and is currently at an action of pending, meaning that they have not approved that PO yet. Now, as and when they do approve that, there's a full system audit trail, meaning that that information will be input into the date and time. So there's that tracking of exactly who has approved purchase requests and other transactions in the system, as well as when they have done that. Now, if we just change our roles to our purchasing manager, who is Stella James, we'll see that they will have received a notification on their reminders that they have got purchase requests that need to be approved. Beyond that as well, they would also have an email reminder letting them know that there's a purchase request that's been entered into the system that needs their approval. You'll see here in the purchasing manager role, I guess conversely to the CFO, who's focused on high-level figures, the purchasing manager has visibility of our inventory, any sort of purchase order counts and values, as well as visibility there of any late purchase orders, once again with the ability to drill down into the information and the different reports and searches that are filling in those KPIs. If we click on our purchase request to approve, you'll see here that we've got a couple of different POs, including PO 141 that we entered in as the employee center user. You see here that we can filter down by employee if we do have a large number of POs that we have got to approve. But in this case, we could bulk approve as well, or just go into the PO itself and approve from there, make any amendments, make sure that everything is correct, and then either approve or reject the PO. If it was rejected, then the initial raiser of the PO would be notified and would be able to re-enter the PO with any updated information. You'll see here that once this is approved, it goes to a status of approved by supervisor and pending receipt. And if we go to our communication and messages tab, we'll see here that when we have approved this PO, it has automatically sent a copy of the PO to our supplier based on the supplier's preference to send this via email. You'll see here, if we open up the PO, we've just got the information that's been input. So we've got that we are ordering office supplies, 2 laptops for the admin team, as well as the rate and the total amount, including VAT here as well. Now, in terms of the data there, it very much is up to the user's preference in terms of how much information and what format you want that to be on files. Of course, there would be the likes of your logo on that PO that would be sent to the supplier. From here, you'll see that it's a status of pending receipt. Now, with the likes of office supplies, laptops, it's up to yourselves whether that goes straight to receipt or straight to invoice. If you want to have that sort of intermediate goods receipt step. In this demo account, we've got it set up to receive office supplies, but that can be configured on an item by item basis based on your preference and business processes. Now, if we log in as the inventory manager, we will be able to receive this PO. Once again, another role that comes out of the box with an out-of-the-box dashboard focused on all of our key inventory information. If we look at our reminders here and our orders to receive, if we drill into this, then we'll be able to find PO 141 that we have been working through the process with and receive from here. Once again, option to bulk receive or click through into the PO itself and receive from here. Now, at this point, we generate an item receipt, which is tied directly to the purchase order that we are receiving against, as well as having the option to part receive if we wish to do so. From here, we can then click save that item receipt, and then move on to the invoicing of the PO here and entering in the supplier invoice. Now, in this demo account, we've got it set up that it is just to be manually entered, but there's various different options out there in terms of AP automation. If you're looking at an OCR or scan and capture type functionality, then that does exist and it is available with NetSuite. Now, if we log in as our AP analyst, we will have the visibility of any purchase orders that we need to bill. And it would just be a case of entering in the supplier invoice from here. Once again, scan and capture OCR functionality is available if that is a requirement or something that you're looking to use. But if we're looking to just manually key this in, then we can do it directly from the PO and enter in any information from that supplier invoice. Now, what's something to note as well on these forms and records, any additional custom fields that you required can be added. So if there's any further information that you wish to hold on transactions, then they can be added to the different forms here, and that doesn't require any development knowledge or any reliance on us. It's something that you can do yourself and would be trained in how to do so. Enter the reference number, as that is a mandatory field indicated by the asterisk here, and we will review the information here. And say, for example, our supplier has actually charged us a rate of 600, so it's overcharged us in terms of what we were expecting from the initial purchase order. Then what will happen is the three-way match process within NetSuite will kick in. The supplier invoice will be compared to the original PO as well as the item receipt. And you'll see here that a discrepancy has been noticed and that the invoice exceeds the PO amount. We'll be able to see the bill exception from here, as well as sending this invoice for additional approval to make sure somebody is reviewing why this invoice is greater in value to the PO, or that could be the item receipt if there's any discrepancies there as well. You see here that we have got our next approval being Carol Morgan, who is our financial controller in this demo account. It'd be a case once again of Carol Morgan, our financial controller, receiving an email to notify them that they have got an invoice to approve, as well as having visibility within NetSuite that they have got the invoice to approve here on their home dashboard. Once again, it would then be up to this user to either bulk approve or view the invoices against the initial PO. Once again, the traceability back to the previous records can be found in our related records, opening up the PO that was initially raised for this supplier invoice, making sure that we can compare and contrast and see exactly the reasoning behind the difference in the variance here as well. Now, just for the sake of this demonstration, we'll just approve this invoice and assume that everything checks out. At that stage, it would then be up to the AP team to track the payments using the various different reports that come out of the box. For example, the AP aging report, making sure that we've got visibility based on the due date of the supplier invoices. We'd also be able to get notifications, reminders on the home dashboard, making sure that we've got any visibility of invoices that are due to be paid. From there, we can create a BACS file to be uploaded to the banking platform using the payment processing option here as well. It would be a case of selecting the bank account, whether that be our UK bank account or perhaps a bank account in a different country if we're operating globally. That would determine the format, whether that be BACS in the UK, ACH in the US, for example. And then it would be a case of selecting the AP account that we are looking to suggest payments for, with the option to be able to filter down by supplier or employee if we are using NetSuite for paying expenses back to employees, as well as being able to select the due date and to date that we are looking to filter transactions from. And you'll see here that we have got the recommendation to pay some different suppliers here, including Computer Plus distributors and the invoice that we have ran through the process for just now. Then be a case of selecting these, could of course mark all, could filter these by different departments, classes, locations which are tagged on transactions, and then generating that BACS file or other payment file to be uploaded to the banking platform to then run through and pay our suppliers. So that has taken us up to a quarter to the hour, which is probably a good time to have a look and see if there's any questions in the Q&A box. Of course, this has just been a bit of a whistle-stop tour in terms of a general overview of NetSuite, as well as running through one of the processes. Once again, if you would like to review NetSuite in a bit more detail, perhaps get a tailored demonstration with information that is more relevant to your business, or go through any other processes, then of course we would be more than happy to do so. And we will be reaching out following today's session to see if there are any questions. Today's session has also been recorded, so we will be sharing that after the session to make sure that you can then share that on to any members within your team that have been unable to join today. We'll just have a look at the Q&A box. Don't think there's been any questions just now, but please feel free to pop them in. Okay, so we've had a question just now on can we show what some of the out-of-the-box reports, for example, month-end reports, look like? Of course, can jump back into the demo account for just now. Now, once again, if there's any sort of specific reports, I appreciate that given the nature of the webinar, it's pretty much one-way communication. But if you do want to get in touch and have more of a two-way collaboration session, go through some of the reports in more detail, then more than happy to do so. So if we just log back in as our CFO and go to our different reports here, you'll see here that there's various different reports from financial. We touched on the P&L. If we go to our budget versus actual, just another example here, you'll see that being able to look at variance across a set period, so whether that be this month, this quarter, this financial year, based on our budgeted amount, then we have the visibility to do so. You see here as well that we can look across the different subsidiary contexts as well, and once again can filter down across the different department, class, location, custom segments that we've got set up within our system. You'll see here that we've also got various different versions of the budget. So say partway through the year, you reforecast and want to create a new version of the budget, then that can be either uploaded or entered manually into NetSuite. Beyond that, various different reports across purchases, across sales, depending on exactly what you are creating for your month-end reports. Beyond that as well, there is the option of using an ODBC connector. So if you do have perhaps a report pack that's set up within Excel and you want to refresh that with live data, then you can do that by clicking the refresh button if you are using NetSuite's Suite Analytics Connect ODBC driver. Now that applies for other third-party systems beyond Excel. If you are looking to connect them to NetSuite, that can be done using the different driver options or using NetSuite's APIs, something that we could guide on as well. Perfect, so just double check if there's any other questions for just now. Doesn't seem to be. Once again, we'll be reaching out following today's session, so if there's something that you want to discuss in more detail, then of course we can do that on a more collaborative session as well. So no more questions for just now. But once again, we will be following up from today's session, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to get into further detail if there's something perhaps a bit more specific or something that would involve a bit more of a conversation than we have time for today. But thanks a lot, everyone, for joining today's session. Thank you for joining us here at Eureka Solutions for our webinar on upgrading your legacy system to Oracle NetSuite. We will be reaching out following today and we can discuss in more detail. And once again, if you would like a tailored demonstration, then we would be more than happy to organise that following today's session. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning. Hope everyone has a pleasant day today. And once again, please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have got following today.